You are tuning in to the You Are Loved podcast, where we hope to bring love and kindness to the world.
Welcome to another You Are Loved podcast. So excited. We were able to get Jess Barry on the line with us today, or on the pod, and super excited. She's she's the founder of Igniting Victory. She is a transformation coach, speaker, and the founder, like I said, of Igniting Victory. She is dedicated to helping people break free from fear and step into their purpose. Jess believes that your past does not define you, your choices do. With a foundation built on healing, resilience, and faith, Jess empowers individuals to reclaim their worth and embrace a victorious life through her coaching and wellness retreats. Having overcome extensive childhood trauma, military service, which is probably additional trauma, solo travel, and national level martial arts competition, Jess embodies strength, courage, and empowerment. She speaks passionately about the power of choice and loves helping others reconnect with their true selves. And we'll have her links and stuff listed below. So I'm so happy you're about igniting victory, because I definitely wouldn't want to be caught in an alley with you if you were feeling the other way, Jess.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on, Jacqueline. I'm excited for the conversation.
Yeah, great. So, so you joined the military? Like, how'd you join the military?
So I was finishing up my bachelor's degree in social work and outdoor recreation in Utah, and it's getting to the end there. And I was thinking about doing my master's degree, but at the time I was just so burnt out from school and working all my jobs and such. And two of my brothers were serving in the Utah National Guard, and so they were kind of talking to me about that option. And I had never thought about joining the military. I had no desire to do that whatsoever, but I was kind of in a space in my life where I was leaning into my fear more and recognizing what made me afraid and like where I was having resistance in my life. And so I recognized that joining the military was something that actually scared me. And so I was like, you know what, like, I'm just going to do it. So I signed up, and I ended up being able to have some really cool experiences with that. So I'm really, really grateful that I did go that route and face my fear that way.
How long did you serve for?
So I'm still serving in the National Guard. I enlisted in 2020, so about 5 years.
Oh, that's great. Well, thanks for your service.
Well,
and the National Guard is great. So are you in the reserves? Are you full-time, or? You went to mute. There you go.
So with the National Guard, so with the Army, and I didn't know this before serving, so I just like to explain like this. There's the Army where it's active duty. That's like full-time, you're probably stationed somewhere. Then there's the National Guard, and that's where you go in for training and drill is what it's called, like once a month for a weekend, and then 2 weeks out of the year for training. And then there's the reserves, and so that's a little bit more hands-off. And so I'm in the National Guard, so I just go for training once in a while. And then within the National Guard, there are opportunities for people to work full-time. It's where you get put on orders. And so you would show up in your uniform every day for work, but I just stick to the like super part-time once a month so that I can still pursue everything else on the civilian side.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's exciting. Okay. All right, that's awesome. So tell us how did you get Igniting Your Victory? Like, how did you get that started? What made you decide to start that? What's it about? Like, tell us about that.
So I actually quit my corporate job about probably 2 years ago. I was working as an HR recruiter for an accounting firm. I loved the company. It was like the best job I'd ever had, but I was recognizing a sense of just like unfulfillment. I felt like there was something more for me out there. And so I spent, a few months with that feeling and just being open to what God and the universe had for me at that time. And I felt like pursuing my passion of martial arts a little bit more seriously. So things kind of lined up where I was able to move out to Arizona and start training more seriously out here and be with family. And so at that time where I was just focused on training and everything, I was thinking more about getting into the coaching space, like life coaching, because I had been on LinkedIn a lot for my corporate job and I had just connected with a lot of really cool people who were life coaches and kind of just inspired me to look inside and be like, oh, like I have this story and this journey that I've been through. And I tend to, have these conversations with people just regularly where it seems like really transformational for them. And so I was like, oh, this is something that I could do. So that, and it was like, there's a phrase, like being a victim when you experience sexual abuse or assault, you can be seen as a victim, but that just doesn't resonate with me. I've always like shied away from that like victim mentality. I've tried to, and so, the opposite of being a victim is like being victorious. And so I love through my own process and then helping other people, just igniting victory, and that comes from transformation from the inside out. So that's what my business is around. Yeah.
Okay. No, I love that. I feel the same way, like, also being a survivor, but I definitely don't, ever want to, I've never, even when I've been at like my most internal battles and stuff like that, of like just fighting internally, I've never felt like a victim, and I don't like that terminology, and I don't like anyone to look at me like that or pity me. And I'm just like, this is something that happened in life. I moved on, and you know what I mean? And went through therapy and different things at different stages in life to work through all that, but still never wanted to be seen as a victim, because I'm a fighter and I am victorious. And I wish that I love what you're doing, because I just wish more people thought like that and really was like, okay, let's work through this. This is just, use this as my testimony. And then you just keep going,
Yes. Yeah. 100%. And it's like, even, I like the term survivor more than victim for sure. It's interesting. I found myself even like, there's a little like pushback against the survivor word too, but I don't know what else to use. So I just
me neither.
That, but I'm like, I'm not like, I guess because survivor like lines up with survival mode for me. I'm like, I'm kind of like still just like surviving, but it's, taking it to that next step of thriving and really just embracing life and being in the present, letting the past be in the past. But I don't know what else to say. I guess survivor.
I'm a thriver.
Yeah.
Say that, right?
Right. No, that's good. I'm a thriver of sexual abuse. I don't know if that works.
No, that doesn't work well. No, of past whatever. I don't know. But anyways,
I'm an overcomer.
I'm an overcomer. Yeah, for sure. So now with like that, like, so with your like any childhood trauma, military service, solo travel, the fact that you've competed nationally in martial arts, can you take us back to a moment where you chose, like, since we're talking about surviving and trauma and all this stuff, can you take us back to a moment where you chose healing over hiding? And like with that, like, what shifted for you, and how did you know, starts 3 questions. How did you know you were stepping into your purpose?
Yes, I love that question. There was a really pivotal moment in my journey. I was just finishing up. Well, actually, I think I had a year left of college, but this was about maybe 6 years ago. But I was totally in survival mode. My boyfriend at the time was about to leave on a LDS mission, which is 2 years where you can't really talk to them. So that was triggering a lot of like abandonment and just emotional stuff inside. And I was working like 3 jobs, and I was just like at my lowest point, having suicidal thoughts and everything. And I remember sitting in the car. I was reading a textbook for one of my college classes, and it was about it was a book written by different people with physical disabilities, and one of the chapters was this lady talking about how she found freedom in leaning into her disability instead of like hiding from it. And I took a second and like something clicked inside me where I was like, oh, like my disability has been fear. Like I've been letting fear control my life up until this point, just constantly running from everything that, scares me. And so I was like, okay, like my boyfriend's leaving, like, it's just going to be me. Like, I really took that as an opportunity to look inside of myself and start to develop myself from the ground up, mentally, physically, spiritually, just like going all in and really realizing that like nobody else is going to get me out of that mental space. Like I had to put in the work. And so even though it was scary, it's like choosing to lean into that fear. It made the world of difference.
Okay. That's amazing. And it's like, I think at that point in your life, it's like you were okay because you were surrounding yourself with so much noise and attention, stuff like that. But now you were like put in a position to where it was just you by yourself with the outside noise being taken away to stop us from like stop from like the internal thoughts and stuff like that. Now you had to come to a place where you had to deal with everything that was coming at you and really go through a place of healing for that, So that's amazing 100%. That you chose. Yeah, that's amazing that you chose the healing over that. So now as you are since now that you've gone through, you've overcome from that, right? Because you're an overcomer, you're a thriver, right?
Yeah.
So as someone who does help others, like since you've done that, you've reconnected with your true self. Now you're helping others do the same thing. What are like signs that you look for in someone who's ready for transformation? And how do you help them ignite their inner victory?
So you definitely need to have a level of awareness, self-awareness, awareness for the situation, recognizing how the past trauma is affecting you in the first place. But you have to be willing to change. If the person's not willing to change, like you can't make anybody change. And you can't even really like force them to see the value of change. Like that's something that just has to be realized from the inside out through that person. And so, definitely looking for that. I let people come to me. It's a little bit of a different coaching space where, I can like reach out to people and be like, hey, did you experience a sexual trauma? Like that's not really a good opener. So just by like living my life and exemplifying that transformation and just like allowing people to witness my journey, like I feel like that kind of creates that trust for people to reach out. And so, if somebody feels comfortable, if they recognize that they're in a situation or a space of, sorry,
That's
or
okay.
a space of wanting to change. That's definitely a key factor there. So, after that foundational awareness, desire to change, then I really love diving into the experiential part of healing. And so I'm not a therapist, but I am able to hold a space for people and empathize with them and help them like figure out different activities and ways of experiencing mindfulness and movement, connecting in nature. And those are all like big parts of my wellness retreats as well. Because those are all things that help me in my journey. So, it's taking everything that you may, talk through with a therapist or somebody else, or, maybe you haven't even talked about your past trauma at all, but just getting yourself into that space of really reflecting inside, embracing the present moment, and just engaging in activities that help you learn how to express your emotions and be at peace with the present and the past and having that hope for the future. Like those are all really pivotal parts of the healing process.
Okay, nice. I love that. I love that. So, tell us a little bit more about your wellness retreats. Like, what's that about, and like, how often do you do them?
Yeah, so I started putting these together after I moved out to Arizona almost 2 years ago. So I've done mostly retreats with women, and where we'll just go out in nature. Either we'll do indoor or a camping retreat. They're all different, but they revolve around different mindfulness and movement activities, building that sense of community. So I actually have my first co-ed one coming up in like 2 days. We're going to be in Park City, Utah. Super excited about that. We're going to be doing a shooting class. We're going to do some like basic martial arts, go to a cold plunge sauna place. It's called Avanto. It's the first one that's opening up in Park City. My friend just opened that up, so I'm really excited for them. So we're gonna go support them, do a hike, eat good food, just hang out. So, I'm really excited. Just again, it's about providing those spaces for people to feel safe, to actually see and hear their true self.
Okay, that's great. So, are you guys staying at like a lot, like cabins or something like that, or like how are you hotels, or how's that working out?
Yeah, so I'll just rent like an Airbnb. So, it's super like low key, it's pretty casual. I just feel like and again, like I'm kind of in the beginning phase of owning a
Yeah.
business. So I'm pretty young, so that's just what I found works for the situation right now.
No, that's great. That's great. Congratulations on that. Your face lit up when you started talking about it. So you seem really
Oh, okay.
excited about
Yeah.
that. So this is going to be your first one?
First one for co-ed. I've done quite a few with just women, but this is going to be mixed, so it's going to be fun.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Awesome. So when you've gone through that, like, what do you think is probably when you've seen with some the women on the other retreats and stuff, what do you think
Mhm.
what have you seen as like one of the biggest transformations that you've seen in
Mm.
someone that has come into your life?
I would say so. There's a few ladies that have come on multiple retreats, and it's been really cool to see like their transformation journey. I'm just thinking about one lady in particular. The first one she came to very shy, just kind of stayed in her elements. Maybe would engage here and there in our group discussions and things. But this last retreat that I did, she actually like led a class, like, and I could tell she was a lot more comfortable in sharing more about her journey, what she's been through, and just sharing more of who she is outside of that. Like
Mm,
I just love seeing people gaining that confidence to
yeah.
express who they are with other people, because everyone is just like so amazing, when they're truly in tune with themselves and feeling like they have that space to show up. Like that's just beautiful.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, that's what I kept thinking of. Like the word I was thinking about was confidence when you were
Mm-hmm.
describing that how but I mean that's amazing that she went from not really communicating to leading a class. So did she
Mm-hmm.
reach out to you and say she wanted to lead one for next time or something or
Um, I gave her the opportunity because that's another unique part about my retreats is I encourage the participants to share things or lead a class that ties into like a hobby that they have or something that they've learned. So it's kind of a collective experience that way. So I gave her that opportunity, and she's an art teacher, so um, she was like really excited to be able to share her talents and lead a little art class for everyone.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that. I love stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um okay. So I was like thinking about, I always think about this one class that I had in high school, which was a long time ago. And then we did like a paper mache pig. And it was like, and it was like, I can't remember how we did it, but I just know every day we had to like newspaper clippings and cut them out, put them on this,
Mhm.
shape of a pig or whatever. That's my extent of art. But I do have other people that are very artistic around me, and I just love the people's talent and being able to just like visualize something and then just have it come out. You know what I mean? Like on
Mhm.
paper and stuff like that. So like my business partner, she's the one, like we're going to be doing a table in Jensen Beach on the at the end of this month, and Jensen Beach, Florida, and like having our planners and journals and all that stuff. And I'm just like, okay, well, I'm going to put up a banner and I'm going to put the journals and planners. And she's like, I got to think of how we're going to decorate the table. I was like, that didn't even cross my mind at all. I'm like, here's the planners and journals. You're going to love it. Just buy it and go on. You know?
That's awesome. Yeah, we all have our different strengths.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, okay. So tell us, like, you know, igniting victory. Tell us, like, what does victory mean to you personally, and how has your definition of victory evolved over time?
That's a good question. For me, victory is like complete engagement in the present. I think as long as you are giving 100% effort, just doing the best that you can with what you have, like that's victory to me. Because, you know, for example, I just did a jiu-jitsu competition this past weekend, and long story short, like I had to cut weight like twice, and like I had an injury going in, and I had every reason to talk myself out of competing, but I showed up anyways. I won one match, I lost two, and you know, I could have walked away from that just focusing on the losses and beating myself up and, you know, feeling like I was worthless or whatever. But, you know, I walked away feeling victorious because I was like, you know what, like I overcame this and this to get there. I gave it 100% effort. And I have things to work on. And so it's really all about your mindset. And
So what a match.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So that was so cool. But
yeah,
I just feel like the ultimate victory there for last week was just showing up and competing in the first place. But I did not feel like it. But you know, I think a victory for everyone is just different. You know, you could have moms who they have a busy day, a lot going on with their kids, and maybe their victory is getting to the grocery store and buying groceries that day. Or maybe someone else is like training for a big race and they, you know, show up and do really good or beat their last time, you know. So it's just different for everyone. But and I think that's a way that my viewpoint of victory has changed over the years. Is it really is just personable.
Yeah. So do you think yours has evolved over time, or?
Yeah, just, I mean, in the sense of it being, it's not so much about the actual win, but the win is found in the process, how you engage in that
journey.
Process. Yeah.
And showing up for the journey.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to show up for it.
Yeah.
There was which kind of reminded me, like when you made the decision to leave your job and stuff like that, like the so-called comfort of a job. So this app came back up. I can't even remember the book that I got this out of, but it came back up, you know, how Facebook has like the timelines and stuff. It'll send you a reminder. So it's by this gentleman, Dean Alfange, and it says, I do not choose to be a common man. It is my right to be uncommon if I can. I seek opportunity, not security. I do not wish to be a kept citizen, humbled and dulled by having the state look after me. I want to take the calculated risk to dream and to build, to fail and to succeed. I refuse to barter incentive for a dole, which means money from the government. I had to look that up earlier. I was like, what's a dole? I prefer the challenges of life to the guaranteed existence, the thrill of fulfillment to the stale calm of utopia. I will not trade freedom for nor my dignity for a handout. I will never cower before any master, nor bend to any threat. It is my heritage to stand erect, proud and unafraid, to think and act for myself, enjoy the benefit of my creations, and to face the world boldly and say, this is I have done, and this is what it means to be an American.
Wow,
I feel like that kind of defined you a little bit, so I figured I'd share that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm gonna look that up, or if you can send that to me, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That reminded me of one of my favorite quotes. It's by I think it's Theodore Roosevelt, but I don't know. It's The Man in the Arena, but I have a version called The Woman in the Arena, and I don't have it memorized, but it's a really powerful one. So I'll send that to you.
Yeah, send that. Yeah, so okay. So sorry about that. I kind of drifted off, but I thought that was I really like the fact that Okay. So now you also talk about like reclaiming your worth for those who feel, which is a lot of people, for those who feel disconnected from their value because of pain or shame. What's the first step you encourage them to take in like returning back to like love and wholeness?
Yeah. I mean, you got to look at the stories that you're telling yourself and the labels that you're putting on yourself, who you are. You know, I used to identify with my anxiety or the trauma, saying I'm anxious. I am, you know, I'm like, I don't know. I was like, my identity revolved around being a survivor of abuse for a long time, and not that it's not a bad thing, right? It's a beautiful thing that you are still here. You've been able to grow and still be here through all of that adversity that you've faced. But when you identify with the pain of the past, you cannot exist fully in the present. And so, shifting into, I'm feeling anxious right now. Like I'm noticing that anxiety is present in my body at this time. That's not who I am, but it's just what I'm feeling. So that's a big one. And then just recognizing that your worth is not defined by anyone or anything outside of you. If you're outsourcing your worth and letting other people and circumstances or achievements dictate your value, you're always going to feel less than. And so it's just, reclaiming and recognizing, having that perspective shift. I share this quote all the time, but your perspective is your prison or your power. And so it's just all about how you're looking at your worth and who you are.
I love that. Your perspective is either your prison or your power.
Yeah. I don't remember who said that, but not me, but it's a powerful one for sure.
And the other thing that I love that you just said is when you identify with pain in the past, you can't identify with the present. I think that's how you said it.
Yeah. You can't fully exist in the present as long as part of you is still showing up in the past.
Oh, okay, that's what you said. You can't fully exist. Fully exist. Sorry, I was writing it down.
Oh, all
I'm
good.
gonna put that as a quote out there in the description and stuff,
Cool.
or maybe in the title. That's amazing. Okay, so I love that. I love those quotes. Those are powerful.
Thanks.
So, now during your solo travel, like in your martial arts, and like you're into like a lot of masculine per se style type of stuff, but what about the solo travel and the martial arts has taught you about your feminine strength, like boundaries and the power and the balance between like softness and then your power?
I think that's one of the best questions I've ever been asked on a podcast. Thank you. Yeah, it's true. I have gravitated to more masculine activities or ways of expressing myself. I grew up with all brothers, so I don't know if that plays a part in it, but what I've found, especially the past like year or two, I've really been connecting more with my feminine essence and what that looks like. I think it's totally possible to show up in those spaces like the military or in a martial arts gym, and still be feminine. And there's like all different like descriptions of what that looks like. I'm not going in with like a dress on or something, but
yeah, of course,
it's more the energy.
I have shorts on underneath this dress, and I will get you with the high kick. Best believe that,
right?
With heels on. No, yeah.
It's funny. Sometimes I will like walk into the gym and like I'm wearing a cute outfit from the day, and it just like I just laugh because it's just funny. I'm just like, hey guys, and then I switch and I'm ready to roll. But so it really is just about your energy and like being like there's a balance between being fierce and like being calm and gentle and like the feminine energy, when you show up, it just it like is a space for others to just be. Like, you don't have to be so on guard, like,
Mm-hmm.
when you're around a strong feminine presence. And so I really do love bringing that into different spaces where there is a lot of masculine energy, and it's important to note, like, one's not better than the other. Like, obviously, we both exist, and
Mm-hmm.
there's ways that being in those masculine spaces has taught me how important that feminine energy is.
Mm.
And so, yeah, the more you are in tune with who you are and embracing the power that you have and your worth, like, you can show up with a stronger feminine um, energy, and the people around you will notice. And not only the guys, but the girls, like, we need each other, more than ever right now as girls, and in a way that where we're supporting each other. For a long time, I looked at other women who were doing amazing things, and I would compare myself to them negatively, and it would bring out like insecurity. But I remember one of my coaches at the very beginning, she said something in a way where it was like so cool, how she was just like so supportive of this other woman, and I could tell like she was inspired by that lady
Mm-hmm.
feeling insecure. I was like, oh, so I can either choose to be insecure around other strong women, or they can inspire me, and I can see them as role models. And it doesn't have anything to do with like my worth. Like, I don't have to put myself down just because somebody else is succeeding in their journey.
100%. Yeah. And it's like I've been the person to like just be excited for people, celebrate them, celebrate their wins. And sometimes I'll feel like crap because I'm like, dang, I just really haven't, like, whatever the so-called made it yet. But then also I'm like, okay, if they can do this, why can't I? You know what I mean? And so like that's where the inspiration stuff like that comes in, and I get excited. Then I get excited for my journey as
Mm-hmm.
well. And so I think it's great that you've been able to make that shift and look at it in that way. And again, I wish more people did that, and we were able to celebrate each other more, because that would lift each
Mm-hmm.
other up more. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's amazing. So now, on the Your Love podcast, we believe that love is a force that heals, restores, and empowers. So, Jess, what does being loved mean to you today? And how
Mm.
has that understanding shaped the way you love others?
Hmm. That question like almost made me cry. I don't know why. I think I've just been on such a deep journey with love lately, and probably how it's changed most recently is really understanding that the more you pour that love into yourself first, the better you can express that love for other people. I spent so much time trying to prove that I was worthy of love, that I was lovable, um, and a lot of that led to poor relationships and being in situations where I really had no business being in the first place. But of course, everything happens, and I chose to use it for me, and learning from those experiences and growing. But yeah, I mean, now like love means it's very tied to respect. I think, when you show up and you truly respect yourself, you don't accept less than you're worthy of, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and whether that's from other people or yourself,
Yeah.
you set these standards for yourself, and loving yourself is maintaining those standards. So that's more what it means to me, really just coming from within and not outsourcing that to other people.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. I was yeah, no, that's amazing. I was gonna say, um when I'm feeling my most feminine, I meant to tell you this before I asked you the last question,
Yeah.
was when I'm feeling my most feminine is when I feel my safest and most secure.
Mm.
because then I feel like I don't have to be on the defensive. I feel like I can relax and just be in my womanhood. And but on the other hand, I wouldn't even know how to define being feminine. I just kind of, since I'm a woman, I just kind of just know that it's being softer and not so hard and rigid like I can be. And I know when I get like that, that means my anxiety's gone up and I'm not feeling safe or secure. Right. So that's how I can relate to that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that. I'm glad that you shared that. It's, definitely find that balance between like being soft and strong. I think that's a good like pairing. Like being feminine is like you're strong, but you're also soft.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Masculine is when you become strong and you're not soft at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you just express it in a different way, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then, so, oh gosh, I had one other thing I was going to say, but, when it was in regards to your comment though, and you said feeling loved. So when you are feeling, I lost it. Never mind. I should have wrote it down.
It's okay. Maybe it'll come back.
So yeah. So just really with like the aspect of feeling or being loved is a lot of times it's how we look at ourselves. And this is what I was going to say, is that sometimes like when I'm feeling like I need to prove myself in a relationship, or I'm like, whatever, like just proving myself in general, or just like having to, I'm just doubting myself or whatever. Then I'm like, Jacqueline, you're freaking amazing. Okay. And, such and such, they are blessed to be able to have you. And the fact that they would be even higher blessed if they, if things went further in the relationship and all that stuff, because like, I'm just such not to say like be braggadocious about it, but this also helps to counteract other, negative feelings and stuff like that. But I just have to remind myself that I am amazing and that I love helping people. And then you just start like quoting to yourself these qualities about yourself that's good for not just for yourself, but also for the world, and for other people around you, and then just being, a helper, and because women were naturally wanting to help, and so yeah, it's just really kind of just reminding ourselves just how amazing we are, because each one of us, including men as well, but we all have unique, wonderfully made, beautiful qualities about ourselves that there is something that we have that can provide a light to somebody else, right? And that can help impact someone in a positive way, even if it's as small as like paying for someone's tolls behind us, and or just texting like your friends and just saying, I'm thinking about you. You know what I'm saying? So, and just telling them that you love them,
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I love
Yeah.
how you brought up the way that you talk to yourself, in relationships or different things in life, because, and I just want to challenge you, like, it's good to be braggadocious sometimes, like, just own that space. And that's something that I've had to work on too, is like just being okay with that. Like, even like when I won my division for the national Muay Thai tournament, like I don't think I posted about it at all. Like, not that you have to post about all your achievements, but it's just like looking back, I'm like, I did not feel comfortable, like, bragging about that or like showing that to the world, for whatever reason. But, I've come to recognize that like sharing those high moments of your life with other people, it can either inspire insecurity or inspiration within them, but that's up to them. That's not my responsibility. And just seeing that when you do show up as the badass, amazing Jacqueline that you are, like you're giving somebody the opportunity to get inspired and to see how amazing you are and to recognize how amazing they are
can be
as
too,
well by seeing
or that they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love that. You're right. You're 100% right. I guess my fear is like, okay, I don't want anybody to think that we're prideful, because that's
Right.
balance of like
Right.
wanting to just know like how amazing we are without being arrogant about it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that was my insecure, but you know what? I know that I'm not a prideful person.
Exactly.
And like 95% of the time, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm never 100% anything.
Yeah.
And so I guess I should just show up and be like, it's okay, especially when I'm having conversations with myself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because
like,
it's all about the intention, or like, that energy behind it. Because someone can tell like when you're being just boastful, but they can also tell when you're just like acknowledging how amazing you are.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, I love that. So, is there where can people find you? Like, what type of clients do you normally like? Who's your ideal client?
Yeah. I mean, ideal client, like I mentioned earlier, is somebody who recognizes that they are in a space of shifting where they want to choose differently for themselves. They just don't know how to get to where they want to be. Maybe they're being held back by fear, self-doubt, those feelings of worthlessness, but they're willing to change. They are willing to have that extra support and guidance and accountability in their life. Not hand-holding, because I'm not here to babysit anybody, of course, but somebody who's willing to take action and ignite their own victory. Because, and that can be male or female. I work with both genders. So, yeah. And
That's awesome.
another thing is, like you don't have to have experienced specifically sexual trauma, because we all struggle with fear and self-doubt and those things too. So.
Okay, and that's both, and that's for both men and women, actually.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
yeah. So, okay, and then so we're gonna have your website and stuff in the description, and so can you just let our audience know? We'll have it in the description as well, but let us audience know where they can find you and get some more information.
My website is ignitingvictoryretreats.com. For now, I'm going to be updating that, but that's where that is. You can connect with me on Instagram, Jess Berry Official. I'm on LinkedIn as well, which is where we met, so I'm very grateful for that. But just Jess Berry there. And then I have my podcast is called Jess Berry Podcast. That's sharing stories of transformation and triumph. So you can find me in any of those spaces.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay. Awesome, Jess. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to I would definitely be emailing you hereafter, but I look forward to chatting with you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. And this is amazing. The perfect way to start my morning. So
exactly. Same here. You've definitely lifted my day up, because I was struggling a little bit this morning. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, same here, girl. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jess. All right.
Okay,
Bye-bye. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to another You Are Loved podcast. So excited to have you on. If you haven't yet, please go. We have a free 10-minute mastermind that is going to teach you how to, in just 10 minutes, reclaim your life by reclaiming your time. Okay. So just go there. It's youarelovedplanner.com. Youarelovedplanner.com. And you can download the free 10-minute video and have an amazing day, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of You Are Loved. If you have any topic ideas or would like to be a guest on the show, please hit us up on Instagram at youareloved.store.